This episode of the Jesse T Show is brought to you by 46 and 2 Wealth Partners. This year, many people have lots of money questions. Finding the right information can be tough, and more importantly, finding someone that you like and have confidence in is even tougher. If you'd like to keep more of your money, and more importantly, if you'd like to stop trading time for money and live the life you deserve, contact 46 and 2 Wealth Partners today. Right now, Jesse T Show listeners will receive a free 15-minute phone call that will leave you with at least one idea on how to keep or make more money. Text promo code Jesse T Show to phone number 202-301-4503.
This is the first song I ever wrote. It will be on my album. I have not released it yet, but so this one is an unreleased tune called Mystery.
Can't tell you what I discussed. I won't tell you how long I waited. You give me all your low-key lust. I just wanna hug you, lady. I can't resist your sweetest touch, and still you remain a mystery. Mystery. A mystery. You are a mystery. Try to make myself believe it. Every time I head back home, I know you're the only one I needed. So I go ahead and give you a call. You gon' act like you don't even hear it. So I sit here and hold my heart, wonder why you stay a mystery. A mystery. A mystery. You keep doing this to myself, but I don't want nobody else. I can't keep doing this to myself, but I don't want nobody else. I can't keep doing this to myself, but I don't want nobody else. I can't keep doing this to myself, but I don't want nobody else. The lies, the lust, the pain, the trust, it's all yet inside of us. I'm desperate for another path. We're trying to find a love that lasts. Even now, you've broken down my pride. Laying right here by your side. Can't get away from what we have when it's hurting me so bad. But I don't want nobody. No, I don't want nobody. Drunk out on this airport floor, I thank the guy who bought my whiskey. I'm thinking about the time we spent and wondering why you won't stay with me. I'll give you everything that I have. You'll be like I can't commit it. How long's it gonna take before I look you in your eyes and you're not? Mystery, mystery, mystery. You are, and it doesn't matter what I do, I'll still never understand you. Doesn't matter what I do, 'cause I still never understand you, girl. Yeah.
Bro. Music is medicine, dude.
Hey,
that's amazing. That's amazing. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
And cheers to
Hey.
us getting together, having this conversation.
All right.
So talk to me about this. So talk to me about how you got into this and how long you've been doing music. And what led you here?
What led me here? So I guess the music thing. So I've been a musician my whole life. I come from a musical family. My mom used to be a background singer for like Tom Jones and stuff.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and my dad used to play guitar for like all kinds of funk bands and stuff, and that's how they met. They of course stopped touring when I was a kid, so I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know how big of a deal any of this was. I was just like, well, whatever. So I ended up going to college at a place called Lee University.
Okay.
And there I did a lot of traveling and singing and just got better at, I don't know, having control over my voice, and I like figured out this thing as well. And so
how to read and write music.
How to read and write music as well, you know, stuff like that. And it really helped me. I ended up moving to Birmingham, and I worked in a church, and then I moved to Nashville, and then I started working on this, and then I moved back to Atlanta because I fell in love with this girl, and because, you know, Atlanta's a better place for me to, like, you know, do this music thing. And the way that things have progressed, like, I couldn't have made a better move, honestly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So been around to a few different places. So where's Lee University?
It's in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Oh, Cleveland, Tennessee. I actually have a friend up in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah, yeah.
Wow,
Shout out Ashley, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So Cleveland, Tennessee, which is about an hour and a half, give or take, from like northwest Atlanta. And so bouncing around. So what did you go to school for music?
Yeah, okay. I went to school, graduated with vocal performance.
Awesome.
Yeah, so minored in church music and worked at a church for a little bit.
Did you grow up in the church too?
I did. I grew up AME, and then I moved to Church of God, and then I went to Lee, which is like, Cleveland, Tennessee is the home of the Church of God. Like, we got the headquarters there. Like, actually, there's a headquarters of it. There's this whole thing.
It's interesting. I think I have some backstory on that through my friend who lives up there. But I'll have to double back and kind of see where that is. I think she was really connected to that as well. So it must be really big.
It's the only thing in that town. It's the only thing in the town.
It's the only thing there?
Yeah.
So music was just kind of always in your soul. Sounds like, you know, from mom and dad. And did they have parents that played music too? Is this like a generational thing, or did it start with them and now you?
It started with them doing it seriously.
Okay.
I know my dad, like, I think he was the only one who came out with musical talent, because I'm like thinking of my aunts and uncles, and, you know, God bless them, love you, but I'm just like, I don't know on that side. And my mom, she sang with her sisters, her dad sang, my grandma sang, like, so that was just all through their bloodline. But oddly enough, like me, my brother, and my dad, all of us like taught ourselves how to play guitar.
How about that?
So I think it's just like one of those things. It's just like a rite of passage. So like I wasn't able to like really move forward, and it was until I was like, you know, they literally like locked me in a room with an electric guitar. They're like, figure this out, no more anime. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever.
That's awesome. What was your anime? Like, what were you into?
Oh man, everything.
Sailor Moon?
You know what? When I was in elementary school, I remember rushing home to catch Sailor Moon on UPN. On UPN. But no, I was into, I mean, like everybody, Dragon Ball Z, of course, but Berserk is this manga that I love. It's like crazy. It's super like deep philosophy and like, you know, demons and like, it's insane, stuff, but I love it. I love it.
Where did y'all two connect along the way?
You know, high school.
High school, okay.
Yeah, what? 16?
It was
14
like
years ago?
2006.
Yeah.
I mean, however long ago that was.
Yeah. That's when I moved to Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. So about 14 years ago.
Yeah, there was a Hispanic leadership club at Sprayberry, and you know, I was like a freshman and I was trying to be proactive, and I was like, let me go to this Hispanic leadership club, and I see him there, and speaking fluent Spanish.
Awesome.
And I guess, and you know, in order to be in this club, you had to be a Hispanic person going to the school. And I guess really what happened is a bunch of people, like everybody, kind of conspired against the teacher and just told her that he was Dominican, and that was the story. He was Dominican. That was it.
They all lied for me. They all lied for me.
They had your back.
And so I thought the same thing. I really, like, until I got to know him better. I think we were like building the homecoming float together.
Nice.
And stuff, and had a whole conversation, and like got to know each other. But like, been very good friends ever since.
High school.
Yeah.
High school. That's incredible. And so that was, when was high school for you? You said 2006?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like 2008.
Yeah.
We dated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For a while.
12 years strong now. It sounds like.
No. We broke up before he went to college.
Oh, okay. Well, that was good though in a way, right?
Yeah, we had some character building to happen.
That's some growing up to do.
Yeah. Sure. And came back more ready than ever.
Oh, that's awesome. Ready to step up and step into that divine masculinity, divine femininity, and meet each other.
Hey.
So you went to a couple different states, and I know Nashville, they call it like Nash Vegas, like there's a lot of music, a lot of the music scene out there is insane. So what kind of music were you playing when you were out in Nashville?
A lot of country.
A lot of country?
A lot of country. Which now, like, even when I'm playing my shows, like, I'll do some David Allan Coe. Like some, what do you call that song? It was all I could do to keep from crying. You don't have to call me darling, darling. You never even call me by my name. Like, I'm really doing that now.
Well, you're kind of catering to your audience too, especially being in Georgia and Nashville.
People stop requesting more country.
They were like, more country. I was like, you want some country? I got you.
Yeah.
Like, for real, for real.
What's your favorite if you had to only play one country song for the rest of your life?
I have a favorite.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's good.
Ooh. What are you thinking?
Tequila Dad.
Yeah. It's this song by Miranda Lambert.
Okay.
But it's what are the first words?
Oh man.
Her last name was Flores. She came up from Juarez looking for a hell of a time. With a blonde senorita and a tall margarita, we danced on the tables all night. And I said adios, 'cause Casamigos is taking me home tonight. 'Cause they don't love me like tequila does. Nobody can. They don't give me that border town love like tequila does. And that's basically it.
That's beautiful. So singing different country songs, and were you actually getting paid at this time, or was this kind of just like?
Not really.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the thing. Like, I was doing session work that was helping pay bills, like, singing like backgrounds and going in there and reading music and singing, like, that kind of stuff. But when it came to like playing, it was like kind of get your foot in the door gigs, and it's like don't ask for too much, because it's a privilege for you to be here. And I'm like, all right, cool, I got my foot in the door, whatever.
Did somebody make that joke that like lives out there? They're like, oh, you moved to Atlanta and you're doing music, so like you must be getting paid now.
Yeah.
That's a common thing in Nashville that is not. Did not happen.
Yeah.
A lot of free work out there.
Yeah.
Building your network, meeting people,
exactly.
Getting into relationships that would be profitable potentially one day. Mm-hmm. So how long was it before you got your first paid gig, and what was that situation? What did that look like?
Ooh, my first paid gig of me playing stuff for, it was like 2 years into it.
Okay.
And I got a gig, like a small, basically thing, like I do with the Battery. And even that, I wasn't able to do it by myself. I was playing with some other chick, and then I had to split everything.
But that was the first foray into actually getting paid and doing your thing.
Yeah.
And so when you're in this scene, and I guess how long were you in Nashville for?
I was in there for 2.5 years.
Okay. When you're in that scene, how long did it take you to kind of integrate and get plugged in? Like, was it pretty much immediate, or did it take you a while to like connect with other musicians and venues and different places?
So one cool thing about where I went to school is everybody like either stays in that town, goes to Chattanooga, goes to Atlanta, or goes to Nashville.
Okay.
It's like, that's it. Or they're like from Ohio, but like, you know, whatever.
Just randomly.
Yeah. But, which we oddly had like so many people from Ohio and Cleveland, Tennessee, which is weird.
Right.
But anyway, so they would go to Nashville. So like me even moving to Nashville, I had a place to stay because I had friends there. There were friends in the music business who got me in the door, like doing session work and like meeting people and stuff like that. So it wasn't, it was easier for me just because of like the people that I had already made relationships before I had even arrived. So
let me ask you.
First singles you recorded in Nashville.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Ships. I recorded Mystery there. What another Montevallo I recorded there. Te Encontré I recorded there. Yeah. So yeah, I got Ashton Cohn and Alyssa Cohn. They're great friends of mine. I sing with them, play with them often. And they had a home studio, and they allowed for me to like step in there.
That's great.
Yeah, record all of my stuff, and that's how I have most of the recordings I have.
That's beautiful. So those relationships like have carried through to this day. And
Absolutely.
So when you're singing, I've always had a fascination with it. And growing up, I feel like everybody goes through like you know, people when they're in like grade school and high school, they want to play instruments, and it just wasn't ever. I always felt like my voice, like speaking is kind of my gift. Like I speak for a living, and so I've always been enamored by singing, but I've yet to really, I'm getting there, but like finding my voice has been kind of hard because when you're singing along to songs and you're singing to other people, you mimic a lot of times. Like you mimic the sound that you hear, at least I did. And so like I would try to sound like this singer and this singer and this singer, but then like all the while not truly finding my own sound.
Right.
So for you, did you always have your own sound, or did you have to grow into it and like step into it? Like what did that feel like for you?
I had to find my sound. So I think I did a lot of like mimicking and trying to sound like a lot of people before I went to college. And so I remember when I got into this group where it was an a cappella group called the Voices of Lee, and we used to like travel everywhere.
That's awesome.
And when you're singing a cappella, there's nowhere for you to hide, right? Because there's like not instruments or not whatever, you're just out there naked. So it was there that like the director, he was kind of like known for being a hard ass, and he basically told me that I didn't have any sort of originality to my sound, and that I, you know, kind of like not beat me, but like, you know, whipped me into shape and like helped me find, like pushed me to where like there were things that I'm like, I can't do this. He's like, of course you can do this. Shut up, quit being a little. And I'm like, all right, cool. And eventually, like, I
definitely swear on this podcast, by the
way. Yeah. So like he kind of like pushed me there, and it wasn't until like, I don't know, like I started to discover like you can use the holes in your face to make a different sound, a different resonance. Like if you feel it here, it sounds different than when it feels here or whatever, or how to relax your low notes, how to like place the mixed notes, and it's just like stuff like that I would never have been able to do.
So much goes into it, like even the breathing of it, and like the control of like certain parts of your stomach and holding and pushing out, and just this little technique I was taught, like you hold a book and like you just try to like find your because
you really want to sing directly from here, not from
because I was here a lot, and I would always like go like voiceless. Like I would like sing myself out, like especially from like I used to be in sales and was a sales leader, and I would get my guys and girls like excited for the day, and like I would always be yelling from like here. And like by like the end of the meeting, the morning meeting, which was like an hour long, it was like I couldn't even speak. I was like hoarse and like couldn't. So speaking from down there has so much more power than singing from down there. So you got into that scene, and you were there for about 2.5 years. What made you pivot? Did you come back to Atlanta from there?
So coming back to Atlanta, I moved to Atlanta directly from Nashville. I was getting a lot of work touring with like corporate bands in Atlanta. And I was living in Nashville, so I kept having to like travel to Atlanta for rehearsals and travel to Atlanta to leave for a gig, and like I kept having to go to Atlanta, and I'm like, well, why am I living here if I'm not getting paid for working out here and I'm getting paid to work in Atlanta? And also my fiance at the time was living in Atlanta, so I'm like, you know, like it's just logical.
Atlanta, here we come.
Yeah.
And what year did you move here?
Last year.
Yes.
Okay, so it's still pretty newish. It's got a little over a year. And what's the transition been like coming here? Has it still been pretty good and like getting more gigs and meeting more people? And...
You know, it has. So when I first moved here, there was nothing. Like it was dry. So I was like doing everything I could. I was going to like open mics and playing and trying to just get my foot in the door anywhere. And there was one point where a friend of mine, Emily Selleck, she couldn't make it to a gig at the Battery. And she was like, hey, you want to play a solo gig? And it was just like, because I had made that relationship and I'd done well enough, they were like, hey, come play this. And I was like, yeah, sure. But then I did well, and so now I play all the time.
That's where I saw you. What's the name of that restaurant? It's
Taps.
Okay, yeah, so that's where we met, or I saw you probably about a month or two ago, and you crushed it.
Thank you.
It was insane. Like everybody was like on their, you know, leaned in and like watching, and you're doing your thing, and like you're his muse, and like you're looking at each other and like cheering them on, and we connected over social. I'm like, these people are amazing. Like, and then
sometimes I wonder if people just think I'm like a creepy girl, like out in the crowd, like being weird.
Especially because I'll just be like singing stuff, and I'll be like, "Hey, you in the back."
Right. So there, you're there. It seems like from the limited interactions that we had from that night until today on the podcast, like it seems like you really are his muse in a lot of ways. Like you push him and you guide him in a lot of ways, because we talked about before we jumped on the podcast how you don't necessarily believe in yourself, or you don't see yourself the way that other people see yourself, see you. So I feel like she can see the greatness, and she has all this love for you. And how has that motivated you and inspired you, even playing or just operating in the world?
You know, I always play better when I'm singing for her. That's real. And then yesterday, you were listening to
Yanni Robinson?
Yanni Robinson. And she was the one who said the thing about the mirror, right?
Yeah, how like a lot of times, you know, we will seek out a partner who is a mirror of us, in the sense that not that they are the same, but that they reflect qualities that we have within ourselves that we haven't brought to the table yet. Like that we haven't been able to like shine forward. So there's a lot that like I encourage him to do, where I'm just like, well, hold on, like this is the thing that I'm really also wanting to encourage myself to do.
So there's a guy, and I want to plug you both into. He's an amazing artist. He's a visual psychedelic artist. His name's Alex Gray, and he has this thing called the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. But the sacred mirror is exactly what you're describing. It's your significant other that is your mirror, and it'll shine all the good and the bad, right? So like I got out of a marriage not too long ago, and she completely like compounded and just everything that was good was there, and then everything that wasn't good was like right in front of my face. So it just shows you like where you're not showing up in the relationship, or where you are, and like where you're doing well. So absolutely, like that person is basically a sacred mirror, and you can see where you are and where you're operating for sure. Yeah.
And it was funny. She brought it to me, and she was like, you know, because I encourage you to do this, this, and this, and I was like, but you also have these qualities. And she was like, yes, but I bring them out of you. You bring them out of me. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's how mirrors work. I forget.
It's a beautiful union. I mean, it's beautiful. So you can help each other, grow and be there for each other. And so, were there any points of self-doubt? I know a lot of times when you're performing and you're doing something at a certain level, you know, that imposter syndrome can kind of creep in. And especially nowadays, it's a big, you know, common topic in the world. But like, have you felt any of that? And like, what have you done to work through that?
It's funny. What makes me feel a little better about that, I follow a lot of artists that I really enjoy on Twitter. Twitter's a no man's land, so you can just say whatever you want on there.
You can,
But I'll see them like tweet sometimes like about how they have imposter syndrome. But these are like my favorite artists, but they'd be like, you know, me sitting up here tweeting like, you know, not believing in myself, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how can you feel that way? But then I'm like, but I also had myself in that box for a while, especially like, okay, so when I was in Nashville, I was playing some gigs, but I was working like 4 jobs. Like I was just kind of like drowning myself in work. And it was just too much for me. Remind me where I just was in a comment.
You were working too much. You had the 4 jobs, so you were not focused on the music.
You're absolutely right. Exactly. So when it was a lot of like lack of self-confidence. I moved to Atlanta, and she actually pushed me to release my first single.
Nice.
She started pulling me to like go play live shows, and now I feel like I'm so much more an artist in my own right, and I wouldn't be able to have done that without you. But yeah, that's a whole thing.
That sacred mirror again, being able to show you your strength and the beauty behind it. So where did it seemed like you had some time where you took some time apart, you both were able to grow and came back. How did the reuniting happen? Was that something that was, you followed up with her, she followed up with you? Was it just you bumped into each other like, oh, hey, good to see you?
I was in town, and I hadn't seen her in some years, right?
Yeah, there were times where like sometimes we'd go a couple of years without seeing each other. Sometimes it'd be like very often, like it just kind of like depending on where we were in life, kind of.
Yep.
And he was in town, and I think like you were surprising your parents or something. There's a song about it, actually.
Awesome. What's the name of the song?
Changing Scenes. I can't play it because it's like a
tearjerker.
It's a whole hip hop song.
That's
the thing about it. Like
there's a music video actually.
What's wrong with hip hop song?
I just can't play it on acoustic guitar.
Just
I
like
just haven't figured out how to do that yet.
Yeah.
What do you use when you play that song?
I actually haven't played it live yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that's like going to come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I'm working on it though.
Get you back on when you're ready.
Here's the thing. Like even recently, last night I played "Stop This Train" by John Mayer.
Yep.
And the reason I hadn't played it for so long is because he's got this thing. So you got the. That's fine, but then he has this thing where he goes, I'm not colorblind, and like stretches his thumb like to all this, and I'm like, people don't have hands like that.
Yeah. Kind of huge.
Does he have is it big hands?
Massive hands.
Really?
Like,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look at him next time.
He's a monster of a man who has massive hands. Like, not even joking.
And it's unfair because he has like that extra ability. It's like playing sports. If someone's bigger, faster, stronger.
Exactly. So I'm handicapped in the game. Like, I'm not a large dude. But I was like, somebody asked me on Sunday, they were like, why don't you do this song? I was like, I can't do that stretch. And she was like, you have a loop pedal. And I was like, oh shit, I have a loop pedal. So just like as of like yesterday, I've started to realize like I could probably play a lot of these songs that I didn't even like.
For those that don't know, what's a loop pedal?
So a loop pedal is like if I play a pattern and then I stop it, that pattern will loop.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
When I'm playing this chord, I have this da 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 happening, so I don't have to worry about like stretching my hands to do that.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
So much easier.
It'll kind of establish that background melody for you while you like can harmonize and you can solo and you can do whatever.
Is it recording? Is that what it's? So there's a guy that I've been following. His name is East Forest, and he makes this track called Music for Mushrooms, and basically it's like this 3 hour. He does all these sounds and looping, and like he'll record as he's going along, and so like all this layers, like all these beautiful layers will happen.
Exactly.
Taj Sultana, please look into her if you like
Taj
that.
Sultana
is
the
the master of the looping live too. Like she'll do a show like barefoot with like all like the things around her, and you just like full.
Snap.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So just in that spiritual world a little bit, we talked about. Are you just getting into have you been a yogi for a while? Are you an official yogi? Like where are you at with that?
Yeah. I mean, so really, I've been doing yoga like dedicated like a good 8 years, but it's been all like home practice. I've never really like been to studio. I mean, like I've been to studios, but I've never had like a consistent place that I went to like be taught.
Yeah.
I just like did a lot of my own research and stuff, and it was a thing that I had thought about, but it was through his encouragement that I did finally start training. So right now I'm with Core Power Yoga, and I am like 3/4 of the way through.
Wow.
My classes.
Very cool.
Got 2 weeks left. Get out of here.
3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll be certified for power yoga.
Okay. So talk to me about power yoga. Is that like Ashtanga and like what are the?
It's like power vinyasa. So like as opposed to like hot yoga that would have like a set kind of flow, or even like slower like yin yoga and more like meditative kind of like soft practices. This is like one breath, one movement. I believe, now my Sanskrit I'm also still learning, but the word vinyasa actually means to be placed in a special way. Okay. So the idea is to place your breath with these special movements in this special order. Okay. Which, you know, I put together the order for you. Awesome. Awesome. And, you know, and it harmonizes your mind, body, and soul. Unbelievable. And what are some of the things you've learned from your practice with yoga? Some things and some teachings that you've gotten from it. You know, we were actually talking about, I think before we started this, about finding your voice. Yeah. And, like, that's been really my main thing. I know that as much as I know what I'm doing, I can feel things in my body. It's a very different thing to like be leading somebody and have somebody just like look at you for that kind of guidance. Like I know so many times like I would be with friends, like just like they're like, hey, what do you like to do for fun? And I would be showing them stuff, and I'd have people like, you know, like be my trainer, like walk me through a flow, like do this and that. And I'm like, yo, I'm not a professional. I don't want you to get hurt or anything. And they're like, well, why aren't you? Yeah. And that was kind of what really sparked that. I mean, even like, hopefully that's going to turn into a whole holistic healing practice. Beautiful. So like in my spare time as a hobby, I just look into a lot of food healing. Okay. And just like the science behind that. I love it. I did recently a gut biome test to figure out kind of like what my superfoods are, what the foods that are like kryptonite for me are. And because most, if not all, disease starts in the gut. Yeah. And so food is medicine. I mean, I know we're cracking beers right now, but for the most part, just drinking our bread. Yeah, you're drinking the bread. Food is medicine, and knowing what foods work for you, because everyone's different. Because I found out I love chickpeas. Like I like hummus, I like chickpeas, and chickpeas are pretty healthy. But at the time, because the way my gut biome was set up with like the probiotics that you naturally kind of have inside your body and things I didn't have, it was actually harmful for my body, and it was causing inflammation, and inflammation could lead to disease. So food absolutely can be medicine if you use it the right way, and you know what's good for you. That actually is really the biggest difference with I guess like more conventional nutrition and stuff like that, and like the more holistic approach is the idea that I mean, we've all kind of evolved differently. Yeah. And we actually did like the 23andMe like genetic testing and everything just to like really get to know our own bodies. And it's like each individual has, because of like the way that we have like traveled throughout the earth and evolved and stuff like that, our bodies have adapted to really accept different things. For sure. Like I was a vegetarian for like 11, 12 years. Okay. And like although that did a lot of good for my body, I started really learning about my ancestry and about how like that wasn't really sustainable for me to continue throughout my lifetime. Yep. So I've like moved on to pescatarianism. Very cool. Just like through a lot of research, just because like your body really does tell you what you need, and it's and it was actually through yoga that I started learning to really listen. Yeah, you got to learn like the intuition, and your body will. It's an amazing marvel. It'll heal itself if you let it. So incredible. So how does that play into your world with the yoga? Do you do yoga too, and are you doing other? Because even singing takes a lot of endurance, and like and it takes breath work, and that's a lot of what yoga is. And so as far as, do you have any other practices on top of that you do to stay fit so that you can deliver these performances? No. No? Not at all. I'm not even going to lie. No. Okay. And she's always trying to make me do the yoga? Yeah. And I'm like, I'll do it sometimes. So I do it, and I see the beauty in it, and I encourage her and all of the things.
But like she'll like wake up at like 9 in the morning and be like, I gotta get this yoga out. You want to hit this yoga with me? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have this coffee and this bed. And that's what I'm gonna have.
So I love yoga. It's really helped me because I do a lot of training that's hard on my body, and yoga's done a really good thing for like meditation for me and just understanding kind of like when I'm pushing too hard over here. So it's really good to kind of get centered and focused. And so now you're in Atlanta and you're starting to really kind of get into a groove where all these places are seeking you out. And you're bouncing around from Alpharetta to, was it Duluth? And then over here in the Battery right behind us. What's that experience been like for you?
You know, it has been very rewarding. I think a lot of me growing up in like the way that I didn't offer a lot of grace or appreciation to myself, like, hey, you're really good at this, like kind of thing. And I always kind of like push the glory off to something else. And so now like playing all of these shows, like I'm playing them by myself, I'm looping by myself, like this is like my voice by myself. And people are like for real into it, like, and loving my stuff, my songs. And it's like, I don't know. I'm trying not to like.
It's freaking you out a little bit.
Yeah, you know, like it's not real. Like,
I think one of my favorite things about like specifically when he plays like more open places like at the Battery is like the amount of people that like are literally there. You can tell like to be in and out, just pick up some food, or are actually just walking down the street. And then they stop, and then they hang out for a few hours.
That's what we did. That's how we found you.
Yeah.
So we came down into the Battery for a night just to go play and have a good time. And I love music, and we love just being immersed in it, listening to it, singing it. And I heard this sound, and I'm like, what's this? And like we walked over and we saw you, and we spent the night there. Like we spent hours there, and then we went and did our thing. But that's how we found you.
Yeah.
It was just this melodic beauty, just like floating through the airwaves, and I was like, I gotta hear that. I gotta see that. What's going on? And then we just sat like front row after because it started raining a little bit, I think, too. And so we went under.
Yeah, that's right.
We got closer and like we were buying shots. I had tequila. It was gross. I had a double. Like I went to go shoot it all back, and it was so much. It was terrible.
I think it was the tequila song that did it. We were like, well, now we gotta have tequila.
Yeah, we did tequila shots. So you got one of your other best songs coming up.
Yeah. So this one, this is actually the first single that I released that I would not have released had it not been for this lady. I wrote this song driving from Chattanooga to Nashville. I had a gig there, and it was funny. It was a friend of mine. We were talking about how like we lived in Nashville, but we never saw each other in Nashville. It was always in, like So it was like it's like ships passing in the night, and. So this is a song about me being a Sagittarius and blaming my fear of commitment on timing. Ships docked in harbor, sailing at the sea. I always wonder if that's you and me. We tried and tried for it, but we just couldn't meet right there in the middle. Why can't we ever be okay? The lies and the fights are always getting in the way. Why, oh why must it always end this way? Like it's just another day. Just another day. Ships docked in harbor, sailing at the sea. I always wonder if that's you and me. I gave her all my love, and you waited for me, waited for me, waited for me, and by
by the time I was ready, oh, you left me to weep, and so I have to wonder why. Oh, why can't we ever be okay? The lies and the fights are always getting in the way. Why, oh why does it always end this way? Guess it's just another day. Just another day. Sea at different times, you know I tried to get you. No, I tried to get you. Sailing out to sea at different times. Oh, you know I tried to catch you. You know I tried to catch you. Sailing out to sea at different times. Oh, you know I tried to catch you. No, I tried to catch you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
So I want to know about the songwriting process for you. So you get the. It sounds like you get the Muse, which for you, and this was being a Sagittarius, and like kind of how your fear of commitment and like ships passing in the night. How do you? There's so many people who do it so many different ways, but like, what's your songwriting process? How do you how does it start to finish? And is it a long process? Do you get it done so it can be done like?
You know, I usually get it done in like an hour.
Wow.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That sounds fast.
You know, and then I'll do some like tweaking later on. But like that song, I was driving from. So what? That's an hour and a half, a 2.5 hour drive from Chattanooga to Nashville. Like in that, I was just like ships docked in harbor, sailing into sea. I was like, hold on, wait, where's my voice memo? Hold on, let's get this.
There you go.
And then I was like, what would a verse be like? And I was like, oh man, but I wanted to sound like this. And so I just like sang it and just kept like doing it. And like after a while, 2.5 hours, I had a whole song. And then I went back. As soon as I walked back in my apartment, I grabbed my guitar and like figured out what the chords were going to be.
Wow.
And that was it.
I mean, there's been times where we've just been like sitting around, like hanging out and like drinking a little bit and just like whatever. And then he'll be like playing with his guitar. And then sometimes like he'll just start doing something and it'll just sound really cool. And I'm like, well, hold on, where's my voice memo? Let me pull this out. And we'll just like sit down and like start putting stuff together and like.
It's crazy how it's made, like the artistry of it. Like sometimes it's just like you're hit with this feeling, you get a muse, and it's like, okay, well, here we go, let's lay it down. And you want to thank God for technology, right? The voice memos and being able to record yourself.
Yeah.
So, have you put out like full length or multiple song like CDs? Are you working on that? Like where are you in that process?
I'm working on my first album right now.
I know CDs is like an older term.
But see, that's the thing. Like I want to release,
digital.
like I want to release like a little CD, like a little single, and have something like mystery on there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm working on my album. I got a couple songs in the tank, and we're just getting them mixed and mastered and trying to get the rollout going and like release it through the right channels so that like people are exposed to it as opposed to like me just shooting it out into the abyss.
Yeah, that's a question. So I have a book that I'm working on and I'm thinking about being self-published and like just because I'm a rebel at heart and like I like doing things independent, but it sounds like, you know, when you're doing something like this, and even with that, you want to do it the right way and make sure the masses can consume it. So what does that look like? Do you have like some, producer? Do you have, a company that's like, management of like talent and they help you? Like, how does all that work?
Yeah, I'm working right now with a person who's basically acting as my manager, who's helping me like sort of build a team together to like, help with social media, help with producing, help with mixing, help with, sponsors and things of that nature. So, we're trying to like, maneuver through certain channels and get my music around like the specific people where it matters. So once it's time for me to release an album, like I got different channels that I can work with. So
you get all these different little
It's important
venues.
how much like business that isn't art goes into the
and I
business
hate
of
it.
art.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Do you?
Oh God.
Does it take away from the art a little bit?
I still have the art, so that's the cool thing about it. But if it were up to me, I would just like write songs, record them, get them mixed and mastered, and put them out there. Which is basically what I've been doing. But I'm trying to like be better about it and like have like more of a business model and a plan, and
get compensated too. I mean, it's one of those things where I know people who are artists, like there's sometimes a division between the art and like commerce. It's like the commerce like butchers the art in a sense. And so it's hard, I'm assuming, for someone who's super artistic and in that world where it's like you kind of walk a line of like you don't want to sell out, but at the same time you do want to sell music.
Yes, I want to like be sold out of stores.
Right. You want the whole world to have your stuff.
Yeah.
So what has it been for you? I know your parents and your family and you have been huge Muse and inspiration, but who are some of the other artists that you look to for inspiration and like who's molded you a little bit?
I always say like, okay, so Donald Fagen is a guy who's half of Steely Dan. Huge influence of mine. Pharrell I followed a lot. Pharrell and Chad, Neptunes, followed them for a great deal of time. Still do. Frank Ocean is big. Guitarists are always great, so like anybody like John Mayer or Eric Clapton or Jimmy. I love Jimmy. I love Jimmy, and that's like my dad's favorite guitarist. And
Jimmy Page?
No, Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. Oh,
yes.
Oh.
But also Jimmy Page. But yeah, so like that kind of stuff. Who else? My goodness. We got Pharrell.
So okay, really, I think it's like because there's like the big like Nicolay influence and stuff, and I think really, which is the conversation we were having probably like 2 days ago, where he was talking about his favorite artists, and I was like, I feel like you are inclined to follow artists who have taken it upon themselves to produce their own music. So it's like in the very same sense of like what he's doing, like these people were like, I know what essence I'm trying to capture, and if I could just do it myself. There's a little
yeah, I guess you're right about that, because it's like Tyler the Creator. I was like, his first mixtape is not PC at all, but I loved that shit when it was dropped, and it was because he did everything, and I knew he was Tyler. He did the album art, he did the producing, he did the rap, he did everything, and I followed him forever because like I did totally admire that. Same with like same with Nicolay, same with
JJ.
Okay.
That's awesome.
He also does some of his album art, or like a lot of it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, we'll have to get some images and put them out there on social media.
Yeah,
heck yeah.
For sure.
So now you're, it's 2020 and it's been a hell of a year in so many different ways. And it's like, I saw something the other day. It's like, can we just do Christmas and be done with this year? But but next year we're going into 2021. Not to get too like dark, but like who knows what's going to happen in 2021? It's going to be more of the same for at least the first few months, I think, of the year. But so what does that look like for you and independent, like for your music and for your relationship, and like what are you looking forward to next year? Or the next few months?
So these next few months I'm focusing on recording and getting this music, like basically getting my album recorded. The early part of next year we will be excited to, it's cool to say that we'll have a celebration of marriage.
Awesome.
Early next year, so I'm looking forward to that for sure. And then probably I'll be releasing my album around the same time. And
very cool.
One of the things I'm really excited for is to be able to do shows and travel and play my album.
How's that been with the quarantine? And I know Georgia's been was one of the last states to shut down, the first to reopen. So I think that it could help certain businesses and industries in that commerce sense. But like, how has that been for you trying to play gigs? Has it been mostly unaffected? Have you actually had some issue because of, the Rona?
So there's a group I sing with called Young Hearts, and we had like a lot of gigs this summer, like early spring, and a lot of people canceled, man. And it sucked for a little while. Now, like, people are having like social distance weddings and social distancing events and things of that nature.
Actually, if I were to make a point too, it's the big difference between like performing, traveling musicians, and then people who are like releasing recorded stuff. I think it's been more encouraging for you to like release all these recordings and stuff like that, because people are looking to music as medicine. They are home more. They are listening. But like the traveling musicians are hurting right now.
For sure, because they're out and about. It's just like, I'm big into comedians, and they're having a hard time too. Like a lot of places. Have you noticed businesses locally in Georgia that have shut down, like in terms of like restaurants or bars or breweries and things like this? Yeah,
I have. Like, actually, there's one place. Man, it breaks my heart it got shut down. It's called Songbirds, and it was in Chattanooga, and it was a guitar museum.
Oh wow!
And it, it had like my guy from the Beatles, Paul McCartney's like bass was there.
Really?
Jimi Hendrix's guitar was there. Like one of Prince's guitars was there.
Wow.
Like they just had like a museum of like the great guitars. They used to have people perform there. And you could like do like cool private tours and get to like actually play these instruments.
It's like such a little family too, like the people there and stuff. Like our friends got married there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There's some history for you there.
Yeah, so
incredible.
That's what happens with this whole thing going on. It sucks.
So pivoting, right? And like switching from normal stuff to trying to like whatever the world will offer you in terms of like gigs and like, different spots. And so were you doing weddings too before and all different like private
everything.
Like kind of private stuff or
weddings, private events, big destination, imagination. Ooh. There's like this massive NASA basically space camp.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like
that's awesome.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of kids from not even like all over America, like all over the world. They bring them all in here in like Knoxville, Tennessee, and they take over the college there, and then we just get to. I got to perform at the stadium there.
Did you?
Yes, it was incredible. So cool. Like I was on like the jumbo screen, turn up. I was like, this will never happen again, probably. But man, I'm gonna eat this shit up right now.
That's right. Were you in the zone, like owning it? Was it kind of surreal? Like this is, Yeah.
I watched the little recordings back, and I was like, I had to like go back to my day job the next day, and they're like, what did you do this week? And I'm like, look at this.
Right.
Do you see this?
You're on cloud nine.
Yes.
I know that he said that he would be like happier just like recording stuff and like putting it out and being like quiet in the corner, but like no, he actually secretly loves performing.
Out there.
I do love performing. I do love performing.
Talk about that a little bit. Was there a little bit of like stage fright when you first started, or were you just pretty like you get in your own zone, you're like screw it, I'm here, I'm good?
It took a while for me to get to the screw it here. I am now in the screw it here, I'm good.
Yeah.
But even still, like there are times where I'm about to go on and I'll be like, "Hey, I'm a little nervy," and she's like, oh, "I don't know why." And I'm like, "I don't know why." Like,
what's the technique to come down from that? Like break the nerves. Like, is it just stepping in there and playing, or is it like something she does or you do? Like a little like.
I know that like I play.
Yeah.
I know that I sing. So usually, right before I even sound check, there's like a bit of me that's like, if you just grab the guitar and play some notes, bro, you'll be fine.
Just step into it.
Just do it, man. Like it's fine. And so like it'll usually just be that I'll like look at the guitar on the stand for like a solid like 30 seconds, and I'll be like, okay, all right, I got it.
It's just that stepping into the fire, so to speak. Like I'm big into it's called biohacking, and it's like controlling different things that you do to like optimize your living, and one of the things I do is cold showers and like cold plunges, and it's like I don't even think, like when I know I gotta take a cold shower, it's like just turn on the as low as I can go, just barely turn on, just like step right in, because if you start thinking about it like analysis paralysis, you're like,
have you heard about the 10-second decision making?
I've heard about, I think there's tell me about that. I've heard something similar.
It's a very similar concept basically, and it's kind of like, and it is kind of like learning to work with like the chemical processes in your brain, right? And like learning to cheat them. And it's the idea that you, usually your instinct, especially when you're attuned to it, will tell you within the first 10 seconds of making a decision or of asking a question what your decision is.
Okay.
And usually you decide something, and then after that is where all the other parts of your brain kick in and they start, you know, like making up excuses as to why it's not a good idea and what about it is dangerous and what isn't going to benefit you, whatever. So really the idea is to really hone in, and it's kind of like the similar concept as Blink, like that one book, and it's just like to really like learn to attune to that first gut instinct, because it's like if you think after it, just don't stop thinking. Stop thinking.
And then you get into this weird turmoil of analysis, and you're like, and you get paralyzed.
That's the thing that we've been having to learn to do. Just stop thinking so much.
I saw a meme the other day, and it was like, anxiety is just you making conspiracy theories about yourself.
Right. It's good.
Like, you know,
freaking yourself out.
Yeah, like. You're right.
Yeah, you put out some good content on your social media. We'll make sure we put your handles and stuff out there so people can find you and all that good stuff. So any other things you want to put out there in terms of playing today, or do you feel like you? What about Side Bitch? Can you do Side Bitch?
That's what I said.
All right, this next song I wrote when some girl tried to slide in my DMs that I had long since ended things with, and it really pissed me off. So I wrote this song called Side Bitch. So I saw you called me, I didn't answer. You tell me how much you love me, but I know that you got a man, so I don't wanna be messy. I wanna do this shit right. I wanna give it 100, but you wanna waste my time. I'm too grown to be with this chick, doing everything she can to get rich. I don't think that she can be what I want in the end. So one day she stay calling me back, next day you won't work and that's that. Now you wanna be friends, I'll go have to tell you again. Now I won't be no side bitch, I won't be let on. No, I won't be no side bitch. Now I'm good on my own. Now you're telling me you got a hold of your phone, you're seeing what you send me whenever you feel alone. I got an angry message, but what's messing me up? See that he hasn't realized that I don't give a fuck. Nah, I'm too grown to be with this chick, doing everything she can to get lit. I don't think that she can be what I want in the end. Cause one day she stay calling me back, next day it don't work and that's that. Now you wanna be friends, I'm gonna have to tell you again. Oh, see, I won't be no side bitch. Now I won't be let on. Now I won't be no side bitch. No. Now I'm good on my own. Hey, now it's 4 in the morning and I just pulled up. I drove 11 hours, so it's stressed to bust. This point, cause I'd rather avoid what we discussed. Girl, I'm a new man, it's all about us. We gotta readjust, dust the rusted crust of lust off. I know I'm past the cut off, but if you open your ears, put away your fears, listen to what I'm saying, go discuss it with your peers. You'll find that everything in my words is validated. Threw away my pride, girl, I think it's time we dated. But wait a minute, hold up, I thought everything was great. And when you took me to your mama's, I thought everything was straight. And now you're
telling me it's different and things ain't what it used to be. You thought I'm stupid, thought the situation was new to me. Indubitably, like a Joe, I see it beautifully. That's what I gotta do to be that brother that you choose to see. Now it's several months later and it's cool to see that the you gotta do is not including me. So go ahead, go with your perusing, cause when you started losing, came to the conclusion I'm a man right now, and I'm all about my business. Got good jobs, God is my witness. Now you wanna hit me up and see if you can get this, but Jesus ain't died on the cross for me to be a side bitch. No, 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 you won't lead me on. No, see, I won't be no side bitch. No, I'm good on my own, and I'ma say it again, cause I won't be no side bitch. No, I won't be let on. No, you see, I won't be no side bitch. You see, I'm good on my own. I'm good on my own. Yeah.
Damn. Crushed that. Crushed it, dude.
Thank you.
A lot of energy in that one, dude. Do you ever do anything electric, or is it all acoustic?
You know, right now it's acoustic. I started out playing electric, so like a lot of the stuff I do on acoustic is like, you know.
Can you do all the the different songs from like old school like classic rock stuff? Like, could you play like Led Zeppelin songs?
You know, I can't I wouldn't be good at like Led Zeppelin, but I would be good at like Motown.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like Motown and like funk and like that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, that kind of electric,
crush it.
Yeah.
I want to hear the electric someday. So now just, as far as anything else that you're working on or working towards, or just anything fun that you have any time for vacation this year? Where can we go?
Vacation is happening. Vacation finally is happening in 3 weeks. Honestly.
Awesome.
Like, I'm telling people, I'm like, hey, we're about to go on vacation. Every dollar that you donate goes to the vacation. So you guys are just vacation supporting fun. Our love. Yeah. That's all you're doing.
Where are you going on vacation?
We are going to Myrtle Beach,
Heck
South Carolina, and we're gonna bring a bunch of junk food and just lay on the beach and
perfect
just
trip.
You know what I mean? Like just. And the thing was, I was sitting up there like trying to plan it. I was like, all right, where should we go? And she was like,
he was so stressed now. He's just like, I'm looking at all like the activities to do around there and all of the things, and I want to make sure like we've got like stuff scheduled or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah?
I was like, hold on. First of all, who wants to execute a schedule while on vacation?
Right.
Nobody. I was like, second of all, I don't like going out before breakfast anyways, because then I get grumpy. So how about let's bring some food, let's spend some time with each other, let's like beach bum it out. Like, I was just like, honestly, all I really want there is like time with you and time outdoors.
Yep. Perfect.
That's all we need. And he was just like, oh my God, hold on. Like, that makes it so much easier. Like, specifically whenever we did get back together and reconnect, it was a series of road trips that kind of just got forced upon us.
Okay.
And we took them together, and so like ever since then, that's just kind of like a thing.
Road warriors,
really,
you found
like,
that, Heck yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I just went to the beach a few weekends ago. Actually, it's almost come up in a month now. But it was good to see the world was alive, and people were out there doing their thing, and may or may not have been social distancing. I don't know. But
probably not at the beach.
Right? No, for sure. And it was just beautiful to get out there, and Myrtle Beach is a great place to go. Yeah. I almost died on a moped we rented one time out there because for some reason
I crashed a moped in Mexico. So I feel you, bro.
Something happened where I went to hit the brake, but I hit the gas, and I was like heading for a wall, and I had flip-flops on, and I put my feet. It was just really rough, but I got out of the way last second. So yeah.
I straight just ran into a bush, and the exact same thing happened, but I just shot into the bush. I propelled off of it.
No way! Over the handlebars?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Flew for a second.
Flew in the air. It was great.
That was crazy. Great. I have one other story where I flew over someone. So we were in Miami on jet skis, and somehow I guess we were playing chicken, but I didn't know we were going to play chicken. And me and his nickname is now the Ramp because I hit him with my jet ski on the front of his jet ski, and I went up and over, and everything was like slow motion, everything just missed his head. So he's like moving to the side, and the jet ski's just passing his face, and I'm like watching this happen, like above him. I felt like 100 feet in the air almost, and I'm looking down. And I'm like, whoa, that was like super cool. Everybody was okay, but like it could have been really bad.
Yeah, but like surviving that, you're like, yo, I'm a badass forever. Like, there's no way,
And he got the unfortunate nickname as the Ramp because he was like took off on him.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So so when people want to, we'll make sure all your stuff's in the show notes in terms of like how to find you. I know you have like new merch. If you want to talk about that, like what kind of swag do you got now?
Ooh, we got the logo. We got the JJ logo.
Beautiful.
On here we got the hats in different colors. We got shirts in different colors.
Love it.
We got not sweaters yet because the sweater company works in Germany and they're not shipping to America yet.
Oh wow! Okay.
So
damn.
We're trying to find a place that will make the sweaters, but these hats are cool as shit, dude.
The shirts and sweaters have the same JJ logo?
Yes.
Okay,
and
beautiful.
And then some of them have like my art on it.
Okay.
So
people want to find your art. Where do they go for that?
It's really my album art.
Yeah.
So it's what am I saying? So if you go to the jjshowofficial.com, you can find links to where I will be playing, all of my social media,
Beautiful.
my merch store,
booking information.
Yep.
All of it.
Love it.
All of it's there.
And you are booking, taking
Yes.
on new projects, new gigs,
Yes.
looking for new opportunity. Amazing. I'm so excited to have you both on.
Thank
Can't wait
you
to do
so
it again. You're both
much.
amazing. And I want to
Yes.
see you both win and do well.
Yes.
Yoga, music, family, all this good stuff.
Yes.
Have a great time in Myrtle Beach.
Thank you,
But
man.
we'll make sure that all that stuff will be put in the show notes and people can connect with you. And we'll love to get that out there for you. So
Yeah, man.
they are the amazing and powerful JJ and Gracia.
Yes.
I am Jesse T. Be sure to catch us on next week's episode of The Jesse T Show.